Hey guys, how's everyone doing out there? Just wanted to come on here and do a quick live video telling you about the severe weather potential for tonight and then especially tomorrow afternoon. So we'll give it just a second, let some more people tune in, and then we'll get right into this. Go ahead and comment where you're watching from. Got the live chat pulled up, and we'll talk about the severe risk. We'll look at the tornado threat, the wind threat, and the hail threat. We'll look at some future model guidance. So we'll give it just a few more seconds. Like I said, just letting some more people tune in, and then we'll get right into this. We got Brittany says Formosa, welcome. This was kind of unplanned. I did not post it on Facebook that I was going live, but I was looking through some model guidance and thought I'd jump on here and take a look and kind of let you know my thoughts. And I know it's a big weekend, especially tomorrow. So Landis, Shirley, welcome, guys. Welcome. Well, the bottom line is there is a severe weather risk for Searcy County and Van Buren County tonight, as well as a higher risk for severe weather tomorrow. We've actually got an enhanced risk for all of our coverage area, which is Searcy County, Van Buren County. And so we'll dive into that here in just a second. So let's get right into this. I'll roll the intro and we're going to get started. Well, guys, I hope you guys are having a great Saturday. I know it's a busy one right here near Easter. And so I know that people are paying attention to the weather even closer because of sunrise services, Easter service, things like that. And so I want to tell you what I'm thinking, the computer guidance, and let's just dive right into this. So, first of all, radar looking clear. We're not dealing with any rain right now across the area. We do have some clouds, as you can see that on our sky cam. That's a live shot of Marshall. And so clouds are on the increase, but precipitation will be on the increase, especially tonight and tomorrow. I think the best chance for severe weather is going to be tomorrow afternoon into the evening. So let's get right into this as we break down our current thinking. And but first, let's talk about something that's very important: the difference between a watch and a warning. And I've brought this graphic up a couple times now because I think it's so important. I have people that say, "Hey, what's the difference between a watch and a warning?" And some people just don't know. So a watch is conditions are favorable for development of severe weather. Typically, watches are issued up to 6 hours in advance of severe storms. A warning is issued when the storm is right over you. Severe weather is forming. So it's issued a few minutes to 1 hour in advance of severe storms. Most of the time, it's issued really quickly, especially if the thunderstorm is right over you. Now, let's talk about tornado sheltering guidelines. This is very important. Worst options: mobile homes, vehicles underneath a highway overpass. These are terrible options. Bad options: large open rooms like gymnasiums. Good options: interior room, well constructed home or building, basement. And the best option is above or below ground tornado shelter. So, and that's basically FEMA safe room. And I do want to let you know the Marshall safe room is certified through FEMA. So it is the best option. So now let's talk about nowhere to go. If we get under a tornado warning tomorrow, we'll talk about the tornado threat here in just a second. But if you have no basement, move to an interior room with no windows. You don't want to be in that third floor. You don't want to be in the second floor. You want to be on the lowest level of your home and put as many walls between you and the outside. No place outside. I know a lot of people like to go out there and see the tornado or see storms, and that is not safe, especially with the lightning. So the severe weather risk tonight, we do have a slight risk for basically all of Van Buren County and all of Searcy County. This is a 2 out of 5. It's a low risk, but you can see, like I said, it does include our area. The primary threats tonight would be damaging wind and hail, but an isolated tornado is possible. It's a little bit on the lower side. I think the tornado threat is greater tomorrow than it is tonight, but there's still that 5% risk. And you can see that does include all of Searcy County and Van Buren County. So the safe room will be unlocked in Marshall. So if you need to take cover or we get under some kind of warning tonight, will be live, as well as the safe room will be unlocked. And then the severe weather risk for tomorrow. And I think this is where our greatest chance would be. We've got an enhanced risk. This includes Harrison, Russellville, Conway, Batesville, Mountain Home. So our coverage area, Van Buren, Searcy County, is in that enhanced risk. That's a 3 out of 5. So that's a medium risk. And the tornado threat is higher tomorrow than it is tonight. As you can see, we've got that 10 to 14% chance. Following that, Van Buren County is in that 5 to 9% chance. And then on the outside of that, you have the 2 to 4%. So there's certainly a tornado threat tomorrow, but it's definitely not anywhere close to what we saw like 2 weeks ago. That was a rare situation. And so this is going to be more of your typical severe weather setup for tomorrow. So let's dive into it. Timing, because I know everybody wants to know, what are we thinking? Well, let's take a look. So this is the latest computer model. It just came in just a few minutes ago, and we will start right here at 6 p.m. So what we're going to watch is we're going to see if storms develop to the west of Fort Smith. So here's Fort Smith. So according to this computer model, we should start seeing development as early as 6 p.m. in this area. That would be transitioning and following a boundary. And watch what happens. These storms develop, they become strong to severe. I think at this time, closer to 9 o'clock, it's certainly possible we could be dealing with some severe weather in northwest Arkansas. But it's following that boundary. There's a chance Van Buren County doesn't get much of anything because these storms are going to follow a northeast track. And because it's following the boundary, depending upon where that boundary sets up. Now, if that boundary sets up south of here, there is that slight risk. Then it's potential that the severe weather would be shifting to the south some. But if the boundary hangs out north of Searcy County, then I think it's going to ride the boundary to the northeast of that. So potentially, according to this latest computer model guidance, now don't take it literally the exact location, but here's what you see. Van Buren County doesn't get much of anything, and most of the activity goes in northern Searcy County. That's kind of exactly what we saw earlier, and continuing to track this because this is exactly kind of what happened earlier. So here, well, someone said, "Are you still with us?" Um, yeah, I think we're still live. It shows I'm still live over here. Um, so like I said, damaging winds, hail, primary threat, but an isolated tornado cannot be ruled out. Now, as we continue on, this is about 1 a.m. You'll notice it turns more to general thunderstorms, kind of fades away. And then I think this is when the big story is. But watch, wait a minute. You catching something here? 6 o'clock, clear for the most part. Now, don't get too excited because don't take this model literally. But this this is good news if you've got sunrise services. I like what I'm seeing here. Now watch. 10 o'clock, still pretty clear. 1 o'clock, we're still clear according to this model. But watch as we get closer to the afternoon time frame. That's when I think the severe weather would start to build in. And I think that is going to be our best chance for severe weather is going to be tomorrow afternoon. It's going to be scattered. It's going to be kind of a broken line of storms, and it's going to be shifting off to the east, not following that boundary like the other ones was. This one, and it's right there. If you get an isolated cell on its own here, 5 o'clock, I think there's certainly a severe risk with this. And I think there is a medium tornado risk. Not a high tornado risk, but it's medium. And all it takes is one storm. That's it. That's all we need is one storm for there to be issues. So just keep that in mind. Even though the tornado risk might not be high, it's a medium. So it's certainly something you need to be watching. And I think by 9 p.m., I think there could be some isolated severe storms in the mix of this. But for the most part, I think this kind of turns into more of a heavy rain event and then fades away. So I think there's that window from, and I told you guys, I posted this earlier, I think 3 to 8 p.m. I think that's when the window is for some severe weather for our area. And again, I think if you're going to see severe weather, the best chance is going to be tomorrow afternoon into the evening, not tonight. I think there's certainly a chance for northern Searcy County, and that's why I'll be watching it. And you need to have a way of getting warnings. But I personally think that the best chance of severe weather is going to be tomorrow afternoon into the evening. So, and I will tell you, the wind fields do look pretty strong tomorrow. So I think that the wind risk could be elevated a little bit more than what we've seen in a little while. That doesn't mean the tornado threat's going up. Absolutely not. I'm just saying that, and there is that enhanced risk, and it's driven off of the wind risk. So I certainly think that 60 to 80-mile-an-hour wind gusts are certainly possible if storms can form more into bow segments. If they're more isolated in nature, then potentially your wind threat would go down just a little bit and tornado threat would increase a little bit. But like I said, we're just keeping the tornado risk at a medium. It's not going to a high. I don't see anything that would support a high risk. Matter of fact, I've showed you guys this and I'll show you again the tornado parameters. I mean, here you can see there's a little bit that they get a little bit elevated, but they start to fade out as you get closer to that 3 watch. I mean, like right there at 5 o'clock. That is a totally different setup than what we saw like 2 weeks ago. Like we had pink and red and all the really bright colors. I don't see any of that. So that tells me right there that tornado threat is definitely lower than what we saw 2 weeks ago, or I think it was 2 weeks ago. So that's good news. That is really good news. I think damaging winds is going to be the primary threat. I think and here's something to note. Storm fuel. It's not going to be extreme like the other day. The other day we had like 3,000 cape. Computer models showing like 1,000, 1,000, 1,500 in some areas. Nothing like the 3,000 we saw. So that's great news. So a lot of ingredients for severe weather, and we've got some. I think we've got enough to support some severe weather, but in terms of the ingredients we got, nothing's real significant at all. The only thing that's really strong to me personally is the wind fields. Wind fields look pretty rocking. But, wind fields, you got to have other ingredients as well. So, and then it kind of fades away. So here's what we're thinking, and I want to show you this real quick. So this is our updraft helicity, basically can show us where the hail risk is. Um, and so you'll see at 11 p.m., this computer model really highlights northern Searcy County for a severe risk. And it's possible that we could see some large hail tonight up in that area. And that's exactly what I'm telling you. It's following that boundary. And if the boundary's south, then it's going to bring the storm south. But I personally think this is doing a really good job with identifying where that boundary is. And if that boundary's setting up right there, then I think that's going to be the area that's going to have to be watched for a hail risk tonight. And then it kind of fades away. And then we'll watch tomorrow. Yep. See, Van Buren County definitely could have some hail tomorrow. See, you see that's at 6 o'clock. So model guidance picking up on that. And then it continues to move through. So certainly, and something I want to bring attention to is the lightning, because I know there's going to be a lot of lightning with this. So let's look. Well, yep, tonight, right there. Thunderstorm develops. It's all going to depend on where that thunderstorm goes. But if it's northern Searcy County, it's going to be a light show out there. We'll turn our sky cam towards that direction and see if we can't see lightning on it. And I know we will. And if you get a strong storm, northern Searcy County, I think Marshall's still going to see that lightning. No doubt about that. You may not get impacted by the particular storm in terms of the hail or the wind, but you're certainly going to see the lightning of it. And then you'll notice, 2 a.m. showing maybe another thunderstorm or two. And then you'll see right there, yep, it's at that 6 o'clock time frame. It's showing a hail risk, and also here's lightning. So I certainly think this line, it's a broken line, but I think it could have some lightning with it. And then that kind of moves off. And then we're done. So just to recap, let's go back to the severe weather risk real fast. And that's the tornado risk for tomorrow. You can see we've got an enhanced risk for Searcy County, Van Buren County. This is the risk for tonight. It's a low tornado risk. And then we've got that slight risk for tonight as well. Does anybody have any questions out there? I'm in Concord. I appreciate your service. The wind risk is dangerous. Yeah, sometimes wind risk can be just as bad as a tornado risk, especially because the wind is going to be more widespread. So that's definitely a good point there. So again, I think there's a severe weather risk tonight, but I think the big focus is tomorrow afternoon and evening. But regardless of the threat tonight, I will be watching the weather very closely. So, anybody else got any questions out there before I go ahead and end this live stream? Thank y'all so much for watching. I appreciate you guys tuning into this broadcast. Like I said, we'll be here keeping an eye on this. There's some exciting things in the works. Can't can't talk about it, but um, we've got exciting news coming and exciting things for the page and better ways to keep you informed of the weather. So, and hopefully everybody's downloaded the app NCAN Hub. You can get that from the iOS Google Play Store. You can submit reports to us and pops up on a map. I can pull that map up. I can see where all the reports are coming in. So if you're getting severe weather tonight, if you're getting hail, send us reports. It helps us. We'll be able to identify that. So NCAN Hub. It's NCAN Hub. You can get it from the Google Play and iOS App Store. It's got radar. It's got scanner. It's got pretty much everything you need. It's even got fire danger, things like that, and got more features planned. Won't tell you about it just yet, but exciting things coming. So, all right, guys. Well, y'all have a great rest of your day. Hopefully, let's go back to Marshall camera. That's a nice shot of Marshall. Clouds, like I said, on the increase. So, have a way of getting warnings. Be prepared. Keep an eye on the weather. I'll keep you guys updated. Hopefully, I don't have to go live again tonight. Now, I will be at the alumni banquet. So if you see me at the alumni banquet, feel free to say hello. Working that in Marshall. And so, but after that's over, going to come home and watch the weather. So, and I'm going to be watching the weather too at the alumni banquet. But I'll be right there by a safe room. And that's the good news is if you're going to the alumni banquet, don't worry. There is a safe room and everybody will be safe. All right, guys. We'll see y'all in the next live video. Goodbye, everybody.